Welcome to this quick introduction video to subject-verb agreement. By the end of the lesson, the idea is that you will be able to choose the correct verb agreement for a sentence's subject. What we're not talking about today is verb tenses. We're not going to dig through whether you need past, present, future, or something else. Rather, we're talking about subject-verb agreement, which is when you match the verb in quantity to the subject that it matches in the sentence. So for example, one dog barks, singular, but plural dogs bark. Today is about how you make those decisions about the verb to use. But this does not just apply to action verbs like bark, it also applies to those state of being verbs like is versus are. Now, the basic concept of subject-verb agreement is super easy. Unfortunately, there are a couple of exceptions or just things to be aware of. But even with the exceptions, this is not a hard topic. It's not as hard as it might seem. The epic subject-verb agreement rule to remember is to always look at the subject first, decide what number it is, and then pick the right verb. So for the most part, this is all about making sure your subject is singular or plural, and which one it is. Now here's the easy part, okay? If you've ever studied Spanish or another foreign language, maybe you've seen a two-column chart like this before. If not, it's totally fine. Basically, in English, a lot of verbs follow a similar pattern. And the pattern is that a present tense verb or sometimes other tenses, will often be the same regardless of the pronoun, except for this anomaly. The exception is that in the third person pronoun he or she or it, the verb will often change. So I, you, we, y'all, or they will all jump, but he jumps. Okay? And that doesn't just apply to jump, it applies to other verbs as well. Okay? It helps explain have versus has. It helps explain do versus does. And even abstract verbs like love. Okay? This is the easy part. In other words, if you're talking about a third person pronoun, it's probably going to be the alternate conjugation of the verb. It becomes more tricky when we dig into irregular verbs, verbs that don't necessarily follow the pattern anymore. We get that in particular with is, am, and are. So I am, but you are, and it is. Okay? Here are the singular pronouns here on the left and the plural ones here on the right. And there's more variety now than before. Okay? So some of it is situational depending on the verb being used. And if you're ever not sure, that's something that you can look up. The next tricky situation we sometimes get into is a compound subject, because if we're talking about two subjects, two people or two things, if we use the word and, then the two of them working together are plural. Brutus and Fritz are best friends. The cat and the dog got loose. Okay? So with this and conjunction, the two are being plural together. But if we put an or between the two subjects, then it remains singular, because or implies one. One or the other is going to happen, not both. So even though there are two subjects or two words here, only one of them is going to happen. So Brutus or Fritz has the key. They don't have the key. One of them has the key. The dog or the cat is responsible. Neither cookies nor brownies is allowed. Now this one's tricky because you might be tempted to say neither cookies nor brownies are allowed, because not only are there two words here, cookies and brownies, but they're both plural, right? So that might sound wrong, but technically, in terms of grammar, they're acting as just one or the other. It's singular. Neither one of us is going to the dance tonight. So again, our epic rule still applies. Look at the subject, decide what number it is, if it's singular or plural, and then what kind of verb you need. Our third situation is when extra words are in the sentence between your subject and verb. The reason why that's annoying is because when your subject and verb are separated further apart from each other, it can be harder for you to determine what the subject even is and what number you need your verb to be. Do you need your verb to be singular or plural? For example, one of the keys on my ring is for the house. You might have been tempted to say keys are, but I'm not talking about all the keys. I'm talking about just one of the keys. Do you see why that's tricky? You have to pay attention to where the real subject of the sentence is. The person, singular, who runs the fastest wins. The hacker, singular, was arrested. A bouquet of red roses was taped. Now, roses was sounds wrong. It should, like, normally it'd be roses were, right? But I'm not talking about roses in a plural sense. I'm talking about a single bouquet of them. My mom is. The friend is. Now, I put a little note here because even though the friend along with her dog is doing the 5K, this is an interruption to the sentence, and right now we're just talking about the friend running the 5K. The list is on the table. Don't get confused by the word groceries. The groceries are not the subject. The list of groceries is. The dude is. The use is. Now, when you get to there is versus there are, if you have like there is and or there are in a sentence, the true subject is after the verb. So it's a little flip-flopped. The answer is. The things are. So the word order got a little flip-flopped here, but the concept hasn't changed. You find the true subject of the sentence and then pick what verb you need. The only other awkward situation you need to kind of think about is when a word secretly means one or two. For example, we already talked a little bit about this one. If you want just one of something, or if a term implies singularity, you'll use is. Each one is. Each is, okay? All of those one words apply to, like everyone is, someone is, no one. Everybody, anybody, either or either one, neither or neither one. Now, this is a column worth memorizing, by the way, if you're an American who ever wants to take the ACT or SAT, because this is a concept that will appear on standardized tests. Similarly, certain words mean two or plural, even though they look like one. For example, one single pair of scissors technically has two blades, so we treat it like plural. The scissors are on the table. I wouldn't say the scissors is. Same for pants and jeans. The pants are, or those jeans are. Even if I'm only talking about one pair of jeans, we still treat it like a plural word. Okay? Finally, if you are discussing a quantity that is acting as one unit, then you will treat it, again, like one. So 3.1 miles altogether is one 5K race. Or 5 years as a time span is a long time to wait. Or $50 is a steep fine. So again, I'm not talking about 50 separate dollars right now. I'm talking about $50 as a sum together. So $50 is one steep fine. Okay? Now the exception would be if I take 5 single dollar bills and scatter them on the floor. Those are 5 separate dollar bills. So then I would probably say $5 are. So we are next going to pick the correct verb that fits the sentence. You're welcome to pause the video if you want to think about it for a moment before you hear the answers. But here are the correct verbs to choose and why. First, my best friend and I are going to see the movie because we have two subjects combined with the conjunction and. Neither one of us wants to be here. Okay? One may sound funny, but it's still just I want or you want. It's that singular want. My brother and maybe his friend is coming with us to the park. This is mostly about the brother. You are late and will have a consequence. Because remember, is, am, and are one of those anomaly verbs. There is no excuse for missing homework assignments. So a singular excuse is. Mrs. Jones, one single person, takes. Whoever stole my shoes is. Because again, I'm talking about one person, one whoever. Those jeans are too big for you. It might be just one pair of jeans, but we still treat jeans like a plural word. So, thank you again for watching this video. If you need more time with this concept, you might find it helpful to watch it again or to study the notes that you are taking along with it.